class lessons last night. No technique at the moment. Just kokinagi. Hey. People talk about ate or atemi. It's amazingly consistent. It's not unique to what we're doing this weekend. It's out there. It's just not talked about a lot. We're going to look at 3 hand positions for strikes. Okay. Kobushi is a fist. Sankaku kobushi is a fist with the middle knuckle extended. Okay, so everybody try that. Okay. And I want you to do something that Jennifer Sensei recognized. Just make a fist this way, right? And then do it with the middle extended. And feel what it does to the tension in your forearm and your hand. Right? It's actually a little more relaxed, isn't it? I was surprised. But Jennifer figured that out. Here and here. With this. Imazumi Sensei used atemi all the time. It's pervasive in his technique. Not always visible to somebody who's not paying attention to it's there. He always uses the sankaku. Okay, almost always. I saw it there. And those are these guys who are nodding. They've had that in their face many times. Especially the folks in New York. Yeah, it's just you feel it, you know it, right? And so that's one. The second is what we call keikatana. A lot of the rest of the martial arts world calls shuto. So that's the blade of your hand, right? And if you look at O-sensei, you look at Imazumi Sensei and others, it's generally done like this, right? Open hand, open thumb. Sensei mentioned in his article to bring the thumb in, and that makes sense. And then if you look at karate folks, and we will have a special guest tomorrow, Steve Bosa Sensei is going to come in. He teaches Wei Ji here and talk to us about how they strike. But they have more, you flex all these 4 fingers and the thumb a little bit to tighten this portion of your hand, which makes that tougher when you strike. So you'll see that also. But generally for our shuto, our keikatana, we're striking this way. But this is it, you're not striking with the little finger, right there. And that can come shomen, yokomen, sometimes it comes in this way on certain varieties of tenchinagi, right, where you come into the stomach like that. Right? So you'll see all of those. And then the third is tenohira, which I didn't know this, but since they talked about momiji, which means a maple leaf, and it's the open palm. It's this one. So you're striking with this part of the hand here, often to the chin. Warren Sensei's demonstration last night when we came into the armpit, like on Shoji, it was similar to that. It was like that. Right? So you've got those 3. Right? So fist, shuto or teikatana, and palm. Right? And this is, the classic agoosh, right? Or this was the original intent in tenchinagi, to come in and strike up under the chin like that. Don't forget, it's everywhere. Okay? Can you see that?
What does it mean?
But I understand it's important. We're going to talk about suki. Anybody know what that is? Somebody enlighten them.
Ski?
No, suki. S-U-K-I. Opening. All right, opening. These are openings both as nage and as uke. You got to recognize where your weak spots are, where your openings are, when you're attacking or when you're executing a technique. Sometimes we'll create openings. Sometimes using suke as nage will create an opening in uke.
Distance and time.
Distance, time.
Space, time, and there's a third.
Interval.
That's the same. Space, time,
Speed.
Spirit.
basically, yes. This psychological, mental energy that's existing. Call it what you will. But there's a third dimension to Mawai, and that's one of them. Okay? So, and Mawai is not a constant, right? It changes throughout the technique, throughout the exchange. Okay? So you have to always pay attention to that. I will say that one of the things Steve will say to us tomorrow is that often our Mawai is too far. Sometimes we begin too far. And sometimes things that may get uncomfortably close today as we go on. Let's see. Stimming, pressure, or intent. So when you're doing a taming, even if you don't make contact, you guys have heard me in this dojo talk about this a lot. It's got to have meaning. You got to know what the target is. And again, they're general targets, like Sensei explained in his letter. They're not all the vital points that other arts target. Because he said we don't necessarily need to do that because our intent is different, our method is different. But you want to have an attainee that means something. So if we're doing skinny Sidori, right? I'll often see people doing this. Right? Come this way, like this. Right? Doesn't mean much of anything. He's got his hand up, he's blocking, right? But real attainee, you get a reaction, right? You don't stop, right? But you get it up there so that they feel it. And now you've got a chance to go through it. If you need to buckle your rotating elbow on the way in, you can, all right? Okay. Questions? Questions on Sensei's letter?
Just some of the things, I don't know, I'd have to read it again. Throwing a lot of words around, a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, you gotta love the air guitar, right?
Yeah. that was one of them, yeah.
That's great. Now, I didn't actually write that one up. So that's the airstrike, the no-touch type of technique.
Fushiate.
What's that?
Fushiate.
Yeah, Fushiate, thank you, Fushiate. First I've seen or heard of that. You guys heard of that? Yeah. Sometimes he's never ceases to amaze us in some ways. So Fushiate, and we'll do one of those. In fact, let's start with that. So katatori, right? And generally we do one of two things with katatori. It's coming here, udi harai, sweep and enter, right? Or what we call iki harai, angle back this way, correct? So, too far, too soon. Whether it's a taming or not, this is a good measure of a good malai. I think Mark will mention later this afternoon, if you're doing a taming, you can read your malai is probably in good shape. Right? So you can do an taming here or Fushiate and get the same reaction. Okay? So let's do that, right? And Irimi or Tenkan, your choice, doesn't matter. What I like to do is, so Katatori comes, right, and Uke needs to think about where they are in terms of being on the line, or whether they want to be a little bit off the line. You might want to be a little bit down. You might, okay? Just something to think about. Where's your opening, right? Because as this comes in, he's thinking I'm going to step back, you might just want to come in, okay? Perfectly viable, classic, he might just be, boom. Taming's all in, okay? So we just did that, and there's a rhythm to that, right? And I've talked to a couple of people. Yeah, let's see, I'm going to come to you. That reaction needs to be there. It's part of, you're not just, allowing your partner to do the technique, it's part of your self-protection, okay? So now, if you want, do the atami. It changes the rhythm. Right, because the attainee stops there for a second, but you still got this nice malai check, right? You don't have to come down and do an ikkyo or an ikkyo. You can do other things from here, but you want to have that sense that, it's here. I got this, okay? And what are you doing when you do this?
Rotating.
Oh shit! Yeah.
What a novel concept.
I just, I want you to know that everybody listens to you, Sensei. So let's do this. Think atami here, come here, atami to the top of the foot with your foot, okay? All right, everybody see? All right. Don't really do it, because it's boom, right, starting.
That's okay.
Here, now, adjusts to here, okay, in preparation for this, right? So you're here, you're here. He's coming up to punch, you meet him. Then you come in, right? I'm sorry, I was going to do this both the tables. Okay. Where's mine? Where's his open? If he's weak, where's mine Tammy? Right? Or, right? Sneak preview, right? Yeah, sneak preview. Mark, oh, Mark's moving his car. Okay. All right. So here, here. He's coming in aggressively. There. And now this can be a fusiate also, right? Doesn't have to be this. Type and then there's all sorts of nasty things you can do at the end of finishing a tenki, right? We'll think about those later. All right. So katatori nikyo. Hey. Change gears just a little bit.
Crossing.
Kosa. Another fusiate. Okay. Now, make a line and work with Warren Sensei and understand the spirals here, the elbows down, right here, there, okay, there. No contorting the shoulders. Everything's here. Or fusiate, right? Just like that. Sensei Cobra. In Hawaii, he brought out his card trick. All those things, but there's flexibility here. And if you're uke, let's put this way. See, I'm a little forward. Don't just sit here and get fingers in the face. He's going to try and protect you, but this comes, give him the. That's the kazushi, right? What's this called? Yes, Akikaishi Rimi. Yeah. Now, you'll see different variations on what happens here. Okay, some of you that remember weight, remember this. Some people will want to pull it down like this. Any of that can happen. All we're doing right now is moving, rotating, creating a little opening, moving in subtly here, getting nice and close. Drop here. Okay? Hey. Yoke a minute. So you might want to think about your angles. Don't block, okay, right? Always be aware, right? But don't be afraid.
Okay.
Okay? And don't over anticipate. So all I'm saying is you come in nice and slow and easy. You want to be a little bit, no, don't come in and hit me. Okay. Come in. Yeah, you want to think about whether you're right on that line or not. You want to be off a little bit. That's what makes it yokomen versus shomen. Okay, you're all that way. Okay. Now, one of our classic responses is this, okay? This is not a strike. I don't think of it as a block, right? But if you're watching Maizumi Sensei, anytime he introduces this series, this happens first. He shows this, or sword, like this, okay? So you want that image in your mind when you're executing this type of Yoka Manuchi, whatever the technique is. Right? So it's not this so much as this, but your body moves in this angle. And again, like we did on Katatori, you're maintaining a certain mawai here that should be to your advantage, okay? You may increase that if you want to do this, right? Fine. But this first part is this. This side. One thing I say to avoid is this. You'll see this sometimes, and you really want to be careful not to do that. Why? Kill my kidney. Not my kidney, yes. Okay, you're wide open. So, arm up, move back, and if you don't do a tamie, this hand's here anyway, for whatever you're going to do. This, this, etc. Other side. Yeah! So this is a good chance to practice ki, right? There's many options for what to say, but the ki that Sensei always taught us and we use is Y-E-I. Yay! All right, so you want to try that. There's a lot of ki inhibition. I can see it already. I know it intimately in our dojo, right? But we're all among friends. Let it go, right? It's not that the decibels. It's the intent and the timing. Right? It's entertainment. Yeah! Game over, as Sensei would say, right? If you want to do that. Hey! Hey! Now, what's the trajectory of this hand? Where does it come from? Where does it go? Real slow. I don't think so. You play with it. I don't know the answer. You play with what works for you. Okay? You know the answer?
Myself?
Yeah.
I would actually go with what Warren Sensei was teaching us yesterday.
Yep.
Because, it's a straight in.
Straight up. Okay? Good. Which could be that, or could be that, right? I use that one, this side, on this. Hey. Different feel, right? We can look at that later. But for now, hey. Rotate, rotate, atame, 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 through, can if you like or not. Okay, hey. Thank you. Yeah. I won't say criticism because I know who's in the crowd. So just questions. None?
The timing of the strike, it's really hard to make that feel.
Yeah, and I think what's happening is people are ambiguous as to which they want to do, right? So Dusty's coming here, and some folks want to do that, right? Different feel than what I was showing, which is that. And the timing's tough. That's why we don't really teach it early. It's just difficult. You know, how does, like I said, how does my arm go? Everything else. It's a clear strike in there, right? Where was this driven home to me years ago? One of the Barankai senseis. This is the way they do it, right? It's just right in there. And I was impressed. And as I say, sensei always, hustle, always shows that, right? That's the image of what this technique is. So the idea, but admittedly, the timing is difficult. Okay, other?
You had mentioned the timing of the ki can matter
Yeah.
more than the decibels. So is
Yeah.
there kind of an ideal timing, or it's just going to depend on the energy?
It's like, you know, we've been working a lot on our sword cuts, right? So if I'm coming in and I'm cutting like this, my timing is off. Did you see why? Why is my timing off?
Your sword should be slightly faster. Just
My sword should be ahead of my step at the beginning, but they finish together, right? So the idea is, and the ki coincides with that finish. It's all there, okay? So that's the timing we work on in our Koryu weapons work. That's the timing we work, everywhere you apply a ki, that's the intent, okay? But timing's difficult. Anything else? Okay, Munatsu. And this is fine. For our general practice, we'll do a flat jujitsu style punch. Okay, it's just you're trying to penetrate my solar plexus. Okay, again. I want you to reach me. Okay, right there at the X. Okay, one more. Okay. Try not to throw your shoulder out. Shoulder should stay down, right, and stay there. You shouldn't have to reach me, right? Again, this is a weapons principle too. You want to have your moai such that your body, you see you're leaning forward, bring your body in, So you're stable, right?
Right.
We'll worry about your openings later. But to get this, you want to be at the proper moai that your body supports your fist. Okay? Again, come in. Okay? Come in, right?
Right.
Reach me and come in. Either I'll stay there and I'll tighten my muscles or I'll move.
Right.
Okay? So we do this, we move offline. We'll sometimes do something like this. We'll do this, which is an attaining, the strike. All right? But for this one, here. Okay? So this is here, and at the last minute, I'm sliding offline, and I'm going for his ribs, lower ribs, right there. Right? You can add a ki if you want. Now, you're vulnerable right now, right? If he's paying attention, I'm wide open. You can sometimes cut too hard. That's an atami also, right? It's that part of this exercise you do every day, hopefully, okay? So I'll go slow and soft. Right, you come in, here. And as that's coming in, I'm already hopefully bringing this hand up. So it's here. And then this hand goes back here. You cut down, open up a little bit. You don't have to open the door way wide here. This is Michibiki Kaishi. Okay? The hardest part here is the structure on this and the entry, the irimi, and then figuring out where your target is. The intended response is just, well, yeah, is that, right? And then you've got a little time, if you can get it. Sensei always got it, I have trouble getting it. Warren gets it. So if you work with Warren, you'll know what it feels like, okay? Because he rotates properly, right? I'm not, I'm a little more there. And then, cut, and move this a little bit. You can cut down to that thigh if you want to. And then this is classic there, or it's there. Okay, atami, Michibiki Kaishi. The only technique in our nomenclature that has the word atami in it. But I wanted to just sneak these last two in and give you a chance to contemplate all the atami possibilities in these guys, and you're going to hear more about them in more detail about them this afternoon. Both from Katate Tori here, right? Okay, and we saw Tenchinagi with Warren Sensei also, because everybody knows Tenchinagi, everybody has different ideas about it. But if you think about the atami, right? Sliding in deep here, all the principles, I'm not trying to slide out here so much as I am here to the third leg of the stool. It's not there, just think through that. But as I slide in, wait, there's one more. Recognizing and respecting Warren Sensei's comment that this is not the final common pathway always, but in this example, it kind of is, okay? So if you watch some things from back in the early Key Society days from Tohei Sensei, okay, that type of motion, almost an S curve, right? Sensei's always been really, I mean, if you felt Sensei, I mean, I really embarrassed myself one seminar back at Sandia Prep. I was taking Kami for him, and Sensei was doing a couple of these really powerful Tenchinagis, and he's like right here, and I'm already on the mat. And I got up very sheepishly, and said, "Oh, strong key, Sensei." He didn't laugh. So, yeah. So think, you want to come up the center line. You want the palm forward. You know, we've used the pie in the face or the bowl of rice over the shoulder. All those things apply. But you know, the atamis, if you teach leading this way, then people are always going to come up that center line instead of coming around like this. Okay, so it's something to think about. And it's like 1, 2, 3. But if you don't do the strikes, come through there. Okay, so that's Tenchinagi. Nothing, unless you do it really right? But if you look at old style Udia Roche, it's often up here, go ahead and drag, and then here. There are so many ways to do these. Some of which more brutal than others, right? So here, yeah, that's coming, right? Here. So you can play with it forever. Chinkon's kind of the same way, but you know, it was kind of intended for an elbow lead, right? The idea that I can't do this to Warren, I can't necessarily do this to Mike, really bring my arm up this way, right? I got to take them down and use rhythm to come around. Right? But if I don't do that, you know, you give them one of those or one of those. And then if it's Munat ski, then the tenshina, the Udia Roche takes on a totally different connotation. It's that, okay? So for the next 3 or 4 minutes, I invite you to play with Udia Roche and Tenshinagi, okay? Hi.
Kosatore just pull through. So he's going to pull through. And I'm just going to. So it's as you're used to, sliding down on that one. Okay, everyone comfortable? See it again?
See you again.
Right. So as he pulls through, and he can touch the back too to help me through.
How do you feel, buddy?
Okay, we'll all see you later. Okay. At your own speed and pace.
Are you going down on the inside leg every time, or trying to?
Okay. Here, yeah. Inside leg. Inside leg. So maybe make a couple of lines.
Yeah.
I know. We're fast like
We'll see how
really pull that.
Manetsky Ureharai energy. One of the more classical techniques of using an atemi and using one of these so-called no-touch throws. So if he comes to punch, I'm going to come to the outside and rotate as we all learn. And then I'm coming through here with this. So if he stands there, the technique is done. I mean, I've just knocked him out. So, end of technique. If he, as he comes, if I come here and he knows what's coming, he's going to get out of the way. But if he doesn't know what's coming and I don't make an effort and I'm here, he doesn't have to do anything. And now I'm at a disadvantage. So I'll tell you now. So from an Kenny standpoint, be aware of what's happening. This is not being aware. This is getting punched through the face. If I'm fast, maybe I can block, but if I don't know what's coming, that comes mighty fast. And this is where this sliding roll comes from. I'm coming here, I want to get my head out of the way. The body moves where the head moves. We use that for many techniques as nage. So as uke, when you need to get out of the way, move your head and let your body follow. Okay? So try each other, slowly, softly. If you're uncomfortable with that sliding roll, if you're slow enough, you can just roll out of the way the normal way. Okay? But the faster it happens, the faster you have to react.
Hey.
Let me try.
Sticking on the back.
I can also command. Yeah.
If I mention this, I'll mention it now, but we won't want to do it over. So there's different targets here, obviously. Come to the throat, come to the head. But definitely come somewhere to attract the eye. Because if I come here, maybe I can hit him, but his balance isn't disrupted until the strike happens. Here, I need to get his head to move so his body moves. So whatever you choose as a target, make sure it's eye level. Okay, just moving on, we're going to kind of jump around to different techniques just to illustrate the points. So kind of say katate tori and many sudori techniques. Sudori means passing through. I think we did some of this before. So if I'm passing through, I'm vulnerable. I need to do something to take his attention away from hitting me, and that's usually by striking him. And again, strike to the eye level, pass through. Okay. You do it. So typically, kami, we stick the hand up here. If you go to strike hard, that hand's going right into my face. So we tend to generally do this as kind of an afterthought. So nage goes through, and they don't really strike, and I don't really block, and everyone's happy. But the point that everybody's made about atemi is intention is important. So he needs a strong intention, and if I'm going to protect myself, I need a strong block. And also, probably if I'm able to block, I need to move out of the way. And then you can finish the technique, whatever. Whatever. But I really just want you to get the feel for the ukemi portion. And for the nage, make your intent very powerful. And uke, don't kind of halfway the block. Make sure that if he is getting too close or if he is striking, you can actually protect yourself. Okay? So try each other. You can pick whatever technique you want or just pass through. Okay. So similar technique, katate, tori, kokunage, urikiri. So same entry almost, moving to the side, breaking the balance, strike here. And this is usually a push, a guide, but this could also be an attack. So guiding and down. Same strike, same good block for uke, so this doesn't get pushed in. Then So try that a few times until you're comfortable. Then Warren mentioned the very first night, atemi, striking the body and striking with the body. So a good exercise for movement on this technique is striking with the body, in this case the hip. You can use this, but I'm not going to use it. Just come through and move. So you can strike if you want by using your shoulder and your hip. Just flow through. And that gives you the feeling of the rotation. Okay? So try each other, classic style, and then just heighten.
Grab it from underneath there. Can we see one more time?
Yeah. Tategori. You want the first, the regular size? So
No, the last one you did, I thought I saw you reaching under this arm, or?
just as an attempt here, down at your side,
Okay.
and here. Okay. So try both styles, striking with the body. So on the list we have Tegatana. This is your Tegatana down here, and this is the side of your arm that is doing the strike. So if I come through here, I don't have very much. Turn this way, strike with the shoulder and the blade side. I just keep that in mind a couple of ways. So now back to something more relatable. Shomenuchi. Right? So typically, nage strikes, anuke strikes, nage lines. Okay, this is the typical way. But as Sensei said, I've always said, old style, I strike first. She blocks, and then I can apply technique. So this my first strike essentially is an attempt, and she blocks my attempt. From here, if I've timed it right, the balance is already back. So it makes ikkyo or kunage or whatever you want easier. So just go for that. So try this with this little switch of mindset where nage makes the first strike. Uke blocks, and nage uses that as the reason to do the technique. Now, in keeping with the type of atemi Sensei mentioned is that we don't do very often, which is striking to vital points. If I catch her by surprise, I'm going to strike her head. Technique isn't necessary because it's over. But once this block happens, now we need a key. Okay? So try each other, Shomenuchi Ikkyo with nage doing the initial motion. So, I don't know if we'll practice this or not, but just a demonstration. Kata tori Shomenuchi. So he's going to grab and strike. Yeah, and strike. Okay? So this is quote unquote an advanced technique, but there's nothing different about what we just did. So kata tori without the Shomenuchi, that's implied. If somebody's going to grab you like that, most likely they're going to try to strike you with that hand. So kata tori Shomenuchi just makes that explicit. So the way we do kata tori Shomenuchi is like we did the classical Shomenuchi, where I wait and he strikes, right? And if I'm fast, I can push him back and do ikkyo, nage, whatever. If he strikes and I'm slow and this is coming at me, then I have to go in a different direction. But as we just did with Shomenuchi, to preclude that, I'm just going to strike him first, and then I can do what I want. Okay, so good practice with this, knowing that hand's going to come and forestall it with the strike, and then finish with the technique of your choice. maybe a couple minutes, just try the feeling of one hand, and just about at time. We're not going to practice this, just a demonstration, just in keeping with the idea of where all the atemes can be. Let's see. That's fine. We'll start with just the yoga minuchi, right? So yoga minuchi, usually we do this step back. When there's a weapon involved, tanto or boken, which
Tanto's right behind you, Bob, if you want it. Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for now. So Toby Komi style. With yoga minuchi, not so important, but still coming in, striking to take the balance. Tanto style, just regular yoga. Yeah. Tanto style, if I want to do the normal one, there's extra reach here. I get cut, which is why I do this technique. I want to come in, keep the blade away. Okay. Up the ante, boken, yo community. So again, the same thing. This is not going to work. Actually, it's better at least strike this way. Come this. So this way. So Toby Komi, I'm getting inside the arc of his weapon, so it doesn't touch me. This is atemi number 1. This is atemi number 2. With the blade. And when I start coming to his leg, uke should scoot back, right? And now this gives me shihona. So it doesn't, so with the weapon, there are many different strikes once you have the weapon. With no weapon, just still imagine coming in the arc, striking here, and then giving you the space to build around. So we're out of time for practice, but I just wanted to show that variation with Toby Komi and atem. All right.
We've done all of these, right? Tenshinage. No problem, bunch of atemis, right? So Tenshinage comes in, but she's not just standing there, right? She's deflecting that there. Because this attack is coming in pretty quick, right? But as this comes in, that deflection leads right to there. Okay? So because the deflection is coming basically across her body, this is trying to come in, I can drop on that elbow pretty easily. Okay? So just try that one. Tenshinage, uke, protect yourself, and this is coming across. So that's knocking your hand off of the original atemi into the next atemi down. Okay? And to kind of explain that a little bit. When I'm attacking, right? Attack like this, she does Tenshinage. She's got Tenshinage. She doesn't need to do that unless she wants to do that, and we're practicing that, right? Bam, this is up the center, she's got it. Right? If there's hesitation here, boom, she's already inside, she's already got the Tenshinage. She doesn't have to worry about it, right? You're here, so I'm already coming in. I'm grabbing, got a little more of aggressive. I can do it slow motion, that's no problem, but I've got a little more of aggressive uke. She's coming in, I'm already coming in here. She doesn't have that Tenshinage, but now she's already turning, right? She just turns instead of that. Okay? So let's look at this one. We talked about this a little while ago. Here she grabs and comes in, and I'm thinking Tenshinage, boom. And maybe this comes underneath and knocks this down. So in other words, I grab, I'm thinking Tenshinage, this blocks this down. Boom. Right? I don't have the Ude Kiriroshi anymore. Whenever Uke does something, you know, again, kind of an aggressive Uke, so this comes there. So now I'm kind of stuck. Where am I going from here? To freeze frame it here. Okay? So Uke's coming in with a lot of intent, blocks this low. That's when I would do something. Right? So again, slow motion, coming in Tenshinage. This comes in, this is actually knocking my hand down. All right, do I have nothing? No, I want to avoid that. So I'm gonna turn, okay? Energy's going that direction, so that's where I'm going. Okay? So practice that. So Uke's got to kind of keep in mind that when they grab, they're coming in. They're not, and then doing something, right? So coming in, I'm going to take that Tenshinage and I'm going to knock it down. Okay? Come in, take that Tenshinage and block it down. So then she just steps in the shoulder. Okay? Give that one a try. This is Kaishiwaza. Kind of. I don't like to think of it that way. I think of it as just, I'm coming in and taking what they're giving me, not trying to do this and then trying to figure out what to do next, right? So we just looked at that one, right? I'm coming in here. If I get blocked there and this is up here, I'm coming down on the arm, right? If I get in here, I have the Tenshinage, bam, the elbow. I'm going to do Tenshinage, that's where it's going. If I come in here and she blocks this down, I can't get to her elbow anymore. But now all I really have to do is walk forward, and she's going to go. So the idea being, make the connection in there on the center, start the rotation. The rotation will go wherever I can get it. But the rotation's already doing, right? I'm not doing it with this arm. I'm doing it with the rotation, however they give it to me, and they're walking into, what technique are they walking into? Okay? So, here, boom. Right, we practiced that one, everybody loved that one. One of the things, we talked about with this is nobody's going to do Munetsuki from there, right? If she does Munetsuki from there, it's so far away, okay? That's it. So we started practicing Munetsuki kind of from here. Right now it kind of makes sense. I'm open here and I'm close enough that Munetsuki makes sense. So now I'm doing something like that. This one's a little hard to do that way. But, so I'm going to start here, bam. Okay? The important thing, I want to do this just a couple of times and we'll keep the same partners and we'll go, we'll adapt it. But the important thing is here, this is not, I'm not going here, right? That's very nice and getting angle and all this stuff, but I'm really not hitting him and really not affecting him much. Because if she's actually coming in pretty stable and pretty mean, this isn't gonna do much and she's gonna just turn around and keep after me, right? So I want to get my center a little more, this is my center line, right? I want to be right in there. I'm almost going straight down the line, right? just a little bit off the line. Just I'm going right for her center line, paying attention to it. It's definitely not a 1-2. Okay, 1-2 is always too slow, right? Especially with somebody who's quick. So just ground partner, we're gonna keep the same partner in a minute. Just do a few of those where I'm really focusing on, there's their center, getting this rotation here, and I'm really focusing on them, okay? They're running into me, but I better be pretty stable and not like out here somewhere, okay? Do a few of those and then we'll change it up. Get that back in your brain. There's the quick fall version, right? Okay? And then a lot of people aren't falling, or they can't fall that fast, or you're skipped out or whatever. So if she's not really falling, I don't want to be, because, okay? Not really, I'm kind of reaching with both sides. So if she falls down now, it's pretty much that she's falling. Okay? Boom. I want to be that close. Okay? Boom. That close. Okay? That's the line I want to be. If I'm a little further out, yeah. If I'm coming in, barreling in, then I might, I'm committing a lot more. Barreling in, I mean, yeah! Could have knocked it out. So, yeah. So say we're in here, and I'm, boom. So now, she's coming in very more aggressive uke, right? Boom. Yeah, this hand is now protecting there. Okay? We're in close. Boom. So now I'm here. This got deflected. I deflected her, and we're kind of in this bit of a stalemate there. What technique is that? Okay? Yeah. Right? There's a lot, probably, but okay, let's do that one. So, slow motion again. Ude Harai, boom. She's serious and coming in, some good intent here. Deflects this, but now I'm close enough that when I do this, it doesn't take much, right? Close enough to pretty much knock her over there. So when I rotate, she's off, okay? One more look. So, boom. Close enough to bump shoulders. I just rotate. Okay, make sure you got some space, you know which direction you're throwing. Again, Uke's got to be a bit aggressive on the move, not, right? Here. All right? Give it a try. Be careful where you're throwing, or just take them down to that. All right? Okay, so let's switch it up a little bit. So another one, we haven't covered it. I don't know if we're going to cover it tomorrow, but just Tayatari, right? Tayatari is kind of two atemis, and they're coming from more or less inside out. I don't usually want to come outside in, because that means somebody has the inside, then they've already hit me before I do anything else. So if I'm doing Tayatari, I'm coming inside, okay? And then just there. Okay, I need to be a little, we won't go into the Sui no Sen and Sen no Sen and all that stuff. Okay? Atemi. Slide. Boom. Okay? So again, let's do a couple of those just to get that feeling. So this hand is coming more or less elbow-ish. If I'm too far in, then this can reach me. I'm gonna reach them, but they're gonna reach me. So I wanna stop that. Bam. But this hand could be coming in just as fast. This comes up the center line, hits clavicle, right? Bam. Rocks them a little bit, and then you slide forward again. Okay? Boom. Give that a try, and then again, we'll keep the same partners, and then we'll mix it up funny. So you see the atemi, when she's coming slow, the atemi, they're here and here, but then I don't pick a side. If I go here without this hand's coming up there, right? If I go here without this, that collapses, okay? So I've got to keep good connection on both sides and extend center to center as I go through there, okay? So now, let's see, let's just go at an angle here. So I noticed some people doing this, and this was a Dusty question, so this is hard playing. So this comes in, boom, he's been practicing this. Get that hand up there, don't let him get to your face, right? Boom. So now, this atemi is no longer a threat, right? Block this. We're not gonna stop it there, but I'm gonna kind of freeze frame it there. She's got the inside, I've got the inside, so I'm gonna go there. Boom. Okay? So that's where the atemi becomes. Bam, bam. Okay? So ikkyo. Inside gets blocked. If I go here, yeah, see how she's got the opening? Because I've taken the pressure off her center line and figured I'd go for her wrist and go for a nice ikkyo, and she punched me instead. Okay? Boom. I'm grabbing here, she's coming with that hand. Right? Maybe even stepping in, whatever. So I need to keep that pressure going forward. Boom. Here, right? I'm still going for that. She's blocking that. We're trying to deflect it. That's what leads into the ikkyo, and I can pretty much walk out of it. Okay? If you go for the hand, you're giving it back to him. Right? So make sure that this is going for him. There, as uke, don't be a dumb uke, right? Try to deflect that from hitting you in the face. So you move in, it leads right into the ikkyo, and it's pretty easy. Give that one a try.
But also, I'm already blocking this one. So I got
which are what if this or what if that, right? Of course. Uke is moving a certain way, and I'm going with that into a technique. And kind of the point is, I'm going to try to lay them out with this. If something doesn't go, I want to be in a good position where I'm close enough and can rotate easily and stay on their center in order to see where that's going. Is that going high? Is that going low? If that's getting pushed down, probably going to a sankyo. If it's getting pushed up, probably just going to ikkyo, right? So, yeah, I'm in here, right? Now, this strikes here, she's coming with this hand. This hand is at the fate, this hand's coming in, so I go there, try to come in, she deflects it that way. Where am I going with that? Right? I can probably step in, but Okay, there is a Tayatari Shihonage, right? And it's hard because we're looking at the hands. I go here, and then I'm going, okay, how am I getting that into a Shihonage? Here, 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 right? And it gets all messy. Boom. This starts in there, blocks there. Uh-oh, this arm is now dropping. I'm gonna go Tenkan. Come around. This is pretty particular to the attack, right? The attack has to be a certain way in order for this to make sense. If you're doing something else is gonna come out of it, right? The direction of it. But point being, get that, and the atemi is generating it right towards their center. Keep moving towards them. They're going to turn one way or another, and I'm going to find the techniques to see if you can do just a few Shihonages. Go the opposite arm.